What is going on, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another Beta Memoirs. And today, interesting day indeed. We did have the Fed start today. Their meetings did start today. We had a lot of good data come out today. And we also had a lot of earnings. Google crushed it. Microsoft did do well, but they still ended up selling off. Penn sold off. There's a lot going on in the market. I don't know if it is forward guidance that is messing with the market and some of these companies. I know the market has been pretty still for the most part. You do have some individual stocks that have been running, especially in the morning. I know chips have kind of rotated. You have some of the early, the run-ups for earnings. You have like some essential pops and drops beginning of the day. Facebook had a drop today, then popped back. You have ones like Apple. Airbnb actually had some steam today, which was interesting to see. But a lot of different ones are kind of just waiting. I don't know if that's for Powell tomorrow. We also got Biden is going to be addressing Senate and the House, I believe, tomorrow as well. So that being said, I think the market is waiting on what they have to say. And I think it's primarily based off of the tax plan and what is going on with the tax plan. If that does change, if that is signed into law, or what is going on with that. So there's a lot to digest going into tomorrow. But before we get started, remember to hit the like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Tomorrow earnings, one thing to keep in mind, you got Boeing, Shop, and Spotify in the morning are going to be going to have earnings first thing in the morning. And then in the evening after the bell, you have Apple, Facebook, Qualcomm, Teladoc, Logitech, eBay, ServiceNow. You have a lot of big ones tomorrow. And then again, going into Thursday with Amazon, NIO, Twitter, and McDonald's. But being said, I think what we're ultimately waiting on is what Biden is going to say. And then I think from that point, hopefully we can get some direction and not just have a standstill. The bonds have actually been quite interesting, to say the least. But I think once we get that direction from Biden, I think he could very well go through. I don't know if it's going to get approved. The whole tax plan, he may have hiked it really, really high just to try to get some kind of reaction. But nonetheless, I think we're going to be good. I don't think anything's going to really change. It might the taxes might change a little bit, but ultimately, if you're not making over $100,000 or making $1 million a year through capital gains, I think you're going to be perfectly fine. I don't think anything's really going to change unless they come with a flat tax, which they have talked about globally. But again, something I don't think is going to get passed. But being said, the market in general, again, flat. Everything has just been flat. We started getting some momentum, and then everything just, again, died this week. Again, a lot of pops, a lot of scalping. Even myself today, I didn't take many scalps. I did take a position in coin, shares position only. I have played a couple different options on coin, but this particular position was strictly heavier on shares because my theory is that with coin and what it represents as far as cryptos, it's essentially going to pop, and I think it's going to make a Tesla-like parabolic move, where we're looking at like a $50 to $150 move within a matter of a couple of days or possibly a couple of weeks. But I think coin, once it gets momentum, it really hasn't had much volume, and I think that's what's been kind of killing it. But again, it was essentially placed in the run-up to earnings and a lot of other stuff that's been going on at the moment with the tax plan and everything. So I think we get clarification tomorrow, and I think we start to see some running as long as Mr. Powell does cooperate and has the same song and dance. and as well as President Biden as well, and make sure that tax plan is essentially in check and it does not scare the market. Uncertainty is something the market does not like. But being said, again, we're pretty flat even on the daily. Good thing is we're not selling off. We have been playing range. Wouldn't be surprised if we actually drop back down just because of trying to stay within this range. But the market wants to go. I think ultimately everything looks good. Again, the bonds don't look terrible. QQQ, it's been kind of bouncing back and forth, not really knowing what's going on. You've had some mixed earnings and a lot of different things. Even Tesla's, they had a lot of incentives on their earnings. So even with all the incentives, I think a lot of people are weighing on, well, they had a lot of incentives, so that's kind of why they were profitable and all these other different cases. But nonetheless, QQQ is still holding its own. I think we need that news, and then we break for all-time highs. But I think after this move of earnings, I think we're going to get a good little pullback. I don't think any big correction, but there'll be a pullback, and then continue on. Again, there's a lot of money in the system. Summer is coming up, and I think things are going to get in full cycle then. So let me go ahead and pull up the watch list for tomorrow. A lot of my watch list has been the same because most of these are primarily scalping, and I like to either scalping or longer swings at the moment. You want something with time or something that's very quick, trying to catch momentum. So being said, tomorrow I got Tesla mainly for scalping. Coin is something I talked about. I took a position in for a longer term swing with shares. I do hope it's going to have that parabolic move. Also, I'm going to try to be scalping coin as well once it starts gaining momentum, but I have to see that momentum first because right now it's just really been trading flat. There's no volume. And again, I think it's waiting everything on President Biden. And Facebook has earnings tomorrow. That's why I want to play that. That is more of a scalp tomorrow leading into earnings, and then possibly a continuation because I think they will crush earnings. And I think at that point, then I will play continuation on that. I am not holding anything overnight. I don't play earnings like that unless I've been holding a position for a long period of time or invested in that stock. I don't play it randomly leading up to the earnings or through earnings. I like to play the before and the after of earnings. Airbnb is one of the few stocks I saw today that was actually moving. It's finally going back up in the right direction, and I think tomorrow will be a continuation of that. NIO is at the daily and at some good support there. So with that being said, let's go ahead and pop up Tesla. So Tesla in general, as far as looking at this, the chart in itself, Tesla has been struggling to say the least. It's been wanting to make some parabolic moves out of here, but the market has kind of kept it in check. Today, it's actually back at that daily support that I've been talking about these past couple days. The thing here with this is that that 700 is something we really don't want to break. That has been a strong support for Tesla leading up to even earnings here, and I'm surprised if it does break that. I can see Tesla going back down and possibly even testing that 591 mark. Maybe not go that low. There's some additional support here. That's 658. But ultimately, I think this has been a big daily support. And as you can see here, you have all the support here, even in the middle of Bollinger Band. You have all this other support. It looks like we did break back down under this wedge, but we don't want to give away this 700 mark. If we do, again, we can possibly see even lowers. We do have a trend here at the 637 mark, which could be a possibility. Right now with Tesla, I think Tesla is going to have more of a run later on this year. I think right now there's a lot of confusion, especially with the tax plan coming into play. I think that's what kind of has been watered down Tesla as opposed to what we're used to. So being said, Tesla is on watch for that essentially daily support and seeing again where we go. So right now it's currently sitting on it. We'll see how we open tomorrow, but now we have all this resistance on top. So that's one thing we definitely don't want to see. Maybe we gap up over some of the stuff tomorrow. If we do gap over that, I do see that as very bullish, and I can see us actually breaking out and try to test. I know there's been some price target raises on a couple of them. I think I've seen like 850 or something today. I've seen a lot of $1,000 price targets on Tesla, but we'll have to see about that. The next one I do have is coin. Now, coin is something that has been kind of going sideways just along with the market. Again, volume has been very low on coin, and I think it's just because of the market sentiment in general has been very. It's been very quiet. The tax plan, that awful March we had. There's just a lot leading into this, I think, right now, and then with crypto in itself. I even viewed coin when it first came out as well. I can just buy crypto as opposed to buying coin because I can make a better overall percentage out of crypto as opposed to coin itself and equity in coin in itself. But being said, Kathy Woods has been buying this a lot, and I believe I believe it's actually ranked 16 on the overall holdings. But being said, coin is definitely sitting at an interesting spot. It doesn't want to give way. I think it's at a good spot. It's been consolidating a lot here. I think there's going to be a very explosive move out of here. That's why I took a position today. If it does continue to hold tomorrow, if it does dip, I will actually add to this because I believe this is going to have a very parabolic year to go along with crypto markets, just as long as the taxes don't get carried away. I know initial tax reports come out and they kind of crush a lot of these, especially newer IPOs or anything tech related, get crushed because of that. But I think it's just a hiccup, as we saw last Thursday, as it was essentially a hiccup and a pullback, and then we came right back to where we were the previous day. So being said, I still am watching coin. Again, once this thing actually starts moving, I want to try to scalp this on the way up as well as hold those shares. I'm holding those shares. I'm looking at a couple months here. I'm really trying to use coin for the bull run because, I believe that the crypto market in itself will have a major bull run, and I think coin will follow along with that once we get out of this funk that we're currently sitting in. Now, Facebook is the next one I have. Facebook has earnings tomorrow. I did scalp this a little bit today, but ultimately this move essentially is sediment from Google and YouTube. So being said, that's why essentially there's this big parabolic move on Facebook after hours. It did obviously come back down a wick down, but it'd be interesting to watch and see where this is tomorrow. But because of the massive beat with Google, I think Facebook is really going to run tomorrow. As long as the market doesn't go crazy, I think, and isn't selling off essentially, I think Facebook will have another big run. I think Facebook has a possibility of hitting 350, or if not more. I mean, Facebook has a lot more, and I think there's a lot more underneath the hood than people think there is. With Facebook, they have a virtual reality. They are starting to get more into that tech, wearable tech, and so that's something to keep in mind. They are branching out from just being Facebook, and so that is what's helping them move along. Again, they also do have Instagram as well, which is also a big major social platform that is that's great revenue growth as well. So that's something to keep in mind for tomorrow. Again, I'm not going to hold anything overnight. I will play it tomorrow, and then if it does well after earnings, I will continue to play it again. My hope is that it pulls a Microsoft, and for whatever reason, it'll beat expectations and beat earnings and everything. And then for whatever reason, it sells off. And then at that point, I will just buy in because I do believe in Facebook. On the next actual real true pullback of Facebook, I will actually be loading more into Facebook and actually swinging more of Facebook in future days when it does decide to sell off, because it's not going to continue to go up. It eventually actually pulled back pretty well here before too long. The next one I have is Airbnb. It actually was one of the few ones that actually played out today and pushed up. I tried to grab it here today, but I didn't. I missed it a couple different occasions. It actually came back and tagged this in the morning. I missed it there, and then pushed up, and then came back and tagged again, and I missed it. But one thing I want to watch, because it has been kind of in a slump lately, but I think it's ready to rock and roll. And you got, again, summer right around the corner. So Airbnb is one I am watching tomorrow. I will try to trade something. I may do intraday. I do like to do intraday, and I do like to swing Airbnb. The fundamentals I like on Airbnb, so it is one of those ones I'm comfortable with swinging overnight. Really depends on how the stock is moving in the moment. I have swung a couple different leaps on this one, and I've scalped it a couple different times as well. So I do like Airbnb. It is a newer IPO, so just be aware of that. Liquidity isn't always the best with newer IPOs, but just be aware of that. And the next one I have for you guys is NIO. NIO did have a bit of a sell-off today, and it does have earnings just 429, which is on Thursday. So we could get another run up on this. Is something to keep in mind. On the daily, though, it actually does look good. If we can come and tag this 39.61 tomorrow before going into earnings, that would be great. I know they also, as far as like cars delivered, they also executed like Tesla. But again, with everything that went on with Tesla still pulled back pretty hard. So being said, I think NIO is kind of anticipating that. So I think that's why essentially the price of NIO is dropped a little bit for the sentiment of that. But being said, I think if it drops a little bit lower and then goes into earnings, I think we might actually be able to get a nice pop on NIO from that point. But again, I don't play the actual earnings. I play the run-up and the follow-up after. So being said, I'll be keeping this on watch for possible scalps as well. Maybe even a swing into earnings. I'm not going to actually hold through earnings, but into earnings. Maybe something I will be looking at tomorrow as well. So you may see that on tomorrow's nightly watch as well. So being said, that's pretty much what I got. Big day tomorrow, a lot of earnings right when the gate opens and right at close. Again, we also got Powell. We also got Biden as well tomorrow. I don't know what Biden. I know he's talking about the family plan. I'm not sure what exactly is all involved in that. I'm sure he probably will talk about taxes at that point or be asked about it, which is important, because if he is asked about it and he throws out that information, now it depends on if there's anything new in that information, then the market can really move. If it's the old news, it might move a little bit. Again, once the market in general gets essentially a new piece of news, it is very dramatic. And then once the market gets used to it, gets numb to it, essentially the market forgets it, and it's not a big deal anymore. The market moves on from that point. So we really have to see how his wording is tomorrow to see where we head. But I think ultimately, once after tomorrow, I think when we get some good earnings, we get some good follow-up, hopefully BA can start pushing the market up a little bit tomorrow. I don't expect it to beat expectations by any means, but it does sell off. But if there's future guidance with a lot of future contracts and stuff like that, I can see it pushing up the market, and then the market just taking it from there. And then Powell, we might see a lot of sideways action in the morning, and then actually get some real movement finally after. I think Power Hour tomorrow will probably be big going into some following earnings. So till next time, guys, take care, and I will see you guys tomorrow.